What is up, guys? My name is Jasper Kråch. I am a producer based in Hamburg, Germany. And in this video, I would like to show you how I produced my first single, Misconception, which was released last month. And basically most of what I know about music production, I know from videos like this and random tutorials online. So I thought it'd be quite nice to give some of that knowledge back to you. I'm really looking forward to any kind of feedback regarding my songs, my production and these videos. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this journey with you. So without further ado, let's hop into the songs, see what we'll be dealing with today, and then talk about everything in further detail. Let's go! When I start producing a song, I usually start with either the keys or the drum groove. In this example, I actually started with the arp, so the kind of main melody, I think you could call it. Let's look into that in further detail. So the arp is actually a diva synth. Let's just solo that and listen to this. So yeah, as you can see, it's in D minor. The notes are fairly simple, and as I already said, it's a diva synth. I'm pretty sure it's called FR Arp Lyre. I don't really know how to pronounce it. I think it's a stock preset by Diva. I didn't do that much tweaking. I didn't touch it too much. I did turn off the delay and automated the filter cutoff and the wet of the plate reverb and changed a few parameters, but not that many, because I liked the sound the way it was. And yeah, I was pretty happy with the sound that came out of the box. As you can see, I split up the signal in two channels. So I usually do that. The first channel was kind of my dry channel. As you can see, I did only do low cut and added some stereo width through it all. And then on my wet channel, I used an echo effect, you know, a reverb, not a reverb, a delay, stereo delay, some EQing, and I cut off the high frequency, but then drove it up with the MS2 a bit and did some sidechain compression on the echo effect itself, so it won't interfere with the original signal that much. I also used an auto filter to do some automation within the process. You can see it here. It kind of, you know, makes the arp fade in a bit nicer. Yeah, I think you get the picture. And then in the hook, you can see some filter movement as well. Looking back at this project, I actually realized that I did this twice because I, as I already said, also automated the filter frequency of the diva itself, which you can see here. And yeah, it's basically doing the same thing. A bit more movement here to kind of, you know, open up the filter now and there completely, and it gives it these like, you know, really nice transients, this drive in the synth. I like this, gives it a lot of dynamics and liveliness, I think. Then we have another audio effect rack here. So basically, this is kind of a washout effect. I achieved that by mapping delay, some reverb, and a low cut filter to one macro, as you can see here. So the dry and wet is being mapped to macro 1, the mix of the Valhalla vintage verb also, and the frequency of a low cut filter. So as you can see here, yeah, you can see, you know, the dry wet mix going up and the lower frequencies getting taken away, which kind of gives it that, you know, washout effect. I also put some auto pan on there to give it a bit more stereo movement, and you can see track spacer twice. It's like a side chaining tool, where you have the option to only side chain certain frequencies, which you can see here. This is being triggered by 2 other synthesizers, and I did that to give every synthesizer a bit more room within the mix. So yeah, some basic EQing at the end, and that's basically it. I have to say that obviously all the automation I didn't do at the very start, but rather when I did the final arrangement. But I think that is pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, then I started the drums. I usually start with a kick, and as you can see, this is literally the 808 core kit by Ableton itself, so it's all stock. Let's listen to the kick itself. Yeah, nothing too risky. I didn't really do that much. I turned down the decay a bit, turned up the drive a bit, did some basic EQing, put in some drive with the saturator and the drum bus, and then did some leveling, and that's basically it. I kind of wanted a groove in the low end, so I added these low toms, which also are 808 stock by Ableton. I did do some fine tuning, which exposed it for 1 semitone, so it will be in tune. As you can see, I also split the signal again. Basically, this is almost dry signal, just a little EQ on here, and then I put in some reverb on the basically my bass channel kind of thing. You can also see some percussions here. Let's look at these. It's also Ableton core kit, and let's listen to this. Yes, you can see I put in some maracas, are they called maracas? I think so, on the 8th, and some quieter notes before and afterward to give it this kind of groove. And then there's another groove playing with the claves and the high congas. If you listen to it again, you can hear that both of them have like a ping pong delay on them. And definitely some overdrive, I think the high conga does. Let's have a look. High conga. Yeah, some EQing, some overdrive, and some ping pong delay. Some further EQing. I think this is on everything. Yeah, this is on everything again. Some EQing, and there's some filter automation. I think at the very end. Yeah, at the very end of the track to kind of fade the claves and the conga out a bit. We do have some further percussion. There's this groove I added. This groove is a sample, a loop from PML, I think Organica 3 it was from. Massive shout outs to them. I really love their samples. All the one shots, the loops are awesome. I didn't really do that much to it. As you can see, I did, pitched it 8 semitones up, so be a bit more in tune. And did some EQing on it, basically cut out all the loads and low mids, put some ping pong delay on there as well, some saturation, and I did some sidechain compression on there as well, which is triggered by the kick. Made it a bit wider as well. Yeah, but it's all pretty straightforward. Let's listen to it by itself. And in the groove. As you can see, I do have another track here. This is basically my kind of effect track for this groove. As you can see, there's some automation here as well. It's basically the same audio effect track I used with the ARP as well. So there's a delay, a Valhalla, and an auto filter mapped to the macro. The only difference being that I also mapped the width here to the macro as well. So if the automation is going up, the whole signal will kind of spread out a bit, and I think I like that, the washout to getting washed out in the stereo field. I think that gives it quite a nice cool feeling to it. yeah, that's the groove. We have some additional hi-hats here. I think that's the sample. Yeah, that's the sample as well. I don't know where I got it from. As you can see, I'm only using like 2 hi-hats of this sample in a loop. And I put down the transients, which makes it a bit more staccato. If we can listen to it now. This would be without it, and this is, you know, a bit more... I guess you can't call it punchy, but I think you know, it's a bit sharper. And a bit more distinctive, I think is the word I'm looking for. Then we have some claps. I loaded them in from Splice into a drum rack and just, you know, looked for claps that I thought were nice and suiting. Didn't really do that much with them either. I put some saturation on them, you know, split the signal again, and then did some reverb. I think it's just no, it's actually quite long reverb, but I didn't put that much leveling on that. So to give a bit more room, a little tail on it. And here you can see like dub techno. I think those are just like percussive bits and bobs I did to kind of, you know, add to the whole atmosphere and yeah, make it a bit more interesting. Also, I think those samples are from Splice. I don't know where from. You know, I put some reverb, some mid-side echo on there, and some EQing. And I think that gives a really nice texture. And then on all the drums, I put a drum bus, drove it up a bit, and you know, did some EQing, pushed the stereo mix again a bit, but didn't really do that much to it at all. So I'm just listening to the kick and the drums, along with the arp. Yeah, and then I added the bass. The bass is made with Diva and Sublab, so I did the kind of higher frequency basses with Diva and the sub bass with Sublab. Let's listen to this by itself. This is only Diva. You can hear there's not much going on in the low end because I wanted the higher frequencies to be a bit wider as well. Let's talk about this first. It's a PML Diva preset, which I again tweaked a bit as well. You can see there is some plate reverb on there as well. So I made sure that the lower frequencies, I cut them out in the EQ, as you can see here. What else can we see? I do have an LFO, which is triggering the decay. So every 4 bars, the decay will go up, and then every 4 bars it will go down again. It makes a bit, you know, I think it has some kind of nice dynamics to it. Yeah, you can kind of hear the difference. Sometimes it's like, you know, really staccato, and then it's kind of, you know, more legato, I think you would call it. Then we have some EQing here, as I already said. We do have some track spacers, so sidechain compression, which is triggered by the kick, obviously. I did make sure to only get frequencies under 130 hertz though, so all these nice transient sounds of the distorted bass will still be in the mix. Those don't really interfere with the kick anyways. Then I actually increased the stereo width as well. I put some compression on there, and I did some mid-side EQing again at the very end. You can also see I automated the cutoff frequency of Diva itself again. You can see it here, and you can hear it quite nicely. I liked it when the higher notes were playing, that the, you know, cutoff will go up all the way, which gives it a nice dynamic as well. So the sub is basically just it's just a sub bass. That I didn't really do that much with it at all. I did some sidechain compression on there as well. Let's have a look. It's probably the same setting, yeah, more or less, triggered by the kick as well. It's the yeah, just to give it you know, some low end at the end of the day, so that's pretty straightforward as well. You can see some additional chords played with Diva here. You can already hear the kind of wobbly sound which is achieved by using an LFO, which triggers the frequencies of the you know, high cut auto filter here. And I did play around with the offset, so the offset is kind of going up, so the filter is going up as well, so there will be more high frequencies coming through. Let's have a look at this. Show automation. Yeah, so you can see always going up and down, and then it's going up, 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 up. Pretty straightforward as well, which creates some, you know, really nice tension, I think. What else did I do? Put some echo on there, ping pong delay again, and then also did some basic automation with a high cut. I think I did, yeah, at the very end to kind of fade it out again. Added some stereo width to it and made it, you know, added some stereo movement with auto pan, did some EQing, and also again some track spacer. This is triggered by the lead synthesizer, which we'll get to in a second. What else is there? So yeah, there are two synthesizers which I recorded with my Innovation Peak. Let's listen to the first one. It's basically kind of a pad sound. So yeah, it's on audiophile because you know, I recorded it with the Peak in my interface. You can see and you can hear that there's a I really love the LFO on this kind of. Gives a really mystical vibe, I feel. I didn't really do that much processing on there at all. I increased the stereo width, I did some EQing, and I put some saturation on there, and that's basically it. Yeah, the effect, the reverb you can hear on it, and maybe some delay is coming straight out of the Peak. Same goes for the lead synthesizer, which is recorded by with my Peak as well. And yeah, you can see here. So basically, this is my lead synthesizer group, and you can see some MIDI notes here and an audio file. So the way I record this is I usually play some MIDI notes and then, you know, place them in the right place where I want to have them. And then I will have the Ableton trigger my Innovation Peak and doing the recording in my interface. And I usually record like, you know, quite long bits and do the modulation on the filter cutoff of the distortion, for example, the overdrive, the reverb mix and everything, maybe the release as well. I do that on the spot. So I kind of have these unique recordings which have a lot of, you know, I think humanity in them, and it's not perfect, obviously, and but it gives it really nice human and I feel like a dynamic feeling. So that's how I record my synthesizers always. Let's have a listen to this. There's not much going on here yet. Yeah, I didn't really do that much with it either. You can see I used the utility, and this is automated. So if you go in here, you can see that the width is going up, the stereo width. I kind of did this as I did with the groove earlier. So the kind of, you know, the washing out is going, it's washing out in the stereo width. And I did the same thing with the gain. It's just going up a bit. And yeah, there's basically just a low cut filter for the kind of drop again. Did some EQing, some mid-side EQing here, and then there's a track spacer. So again, a side chaining, but this is being triggered by the vocals because they were playing in kind of the same frequencies, and I wanted the vocals to pop properly, and to give it that extra space, I used a bit, not that much at all, just a bit of the track spacer, and I thought the vocals sounded a bit better with this. Yeah, as you can see, this is actually one recording, if you can tell. But I actually did the cut because I wanted the drop to pause for another bar, so I did that afterwards in the arrangement. But yeah, I think with everything playing, you don't really hear those. Frequencies or the sounds you just heard earlier. All right, and then the last thing I think before we get to the vocals is this pad, which is also a diva pad, and it basically just plays the same notes over and over again. It's just a sustained pad to give the whole song, you know, a kind of mystical vibe. Let's listen to it. Without it, it just sounds really naked, I think. Yeah. I really like using some, you know, long, sustained, atmospheric pads to give the song, you know, some depth. All right, let's head to the last thing, the vocals. Let's start with this. So I have 4 vocal tracks. The first one is the main vocals. The second one is the lower pitched vocals. I did artificially, and then there are 2 backing vocals with hard panning to the left and right each. Let's just listen to the main. So as you can see, I split the signal again. So this is my kind of, obviously not dry, but this is my dry track. I did do some EQing, not that much at all. Some de-essing, some basic compression, then some pitch correction with wave, real-time tune correction, I think it's called. Then I used some chorus or sample. I like the chorus because firstly, it gives the voice a bit more strength. And secondly, I do have the feeling that this phasing of the chorus makes the autotune feel a bit softer and kind of decreases that robotic feeling that you sometimes get from the autotune. Then there's another EQ where again low cut and boost the high mids again a bit, and then there's just a small room reverb on there with a mix on 7% on here, and then increase the stereo width again. With the reverb, basically the same, and then we have a quite long Valhalla plate reverb. Low cut 370 hertz, then some basic EQing again, mid-side EQing. I saturated the reverb a bit. Obviously the mix is on 100% here, and then I did some sidechain compression from the actual main audio to the reverb, so you only get the reverb in the pauses kind of thing. And it also, because this is quite heavy, makes it sound a bit trippy. Because the release is actually, it is quite quick, so it goes up quite quick as well. I kind of like it. It sounds a bit trippy. And basically I did the same thing for, why can't I go further here? What's going on? Oh, here we go. And basically I did the same thing for the echo. Yeah, same thing. Use the ping pong echo delay, some EQing on there, and then some sidechain compression again. The other track is basically exactly the same track, just, you know, pitched it down 12 semitones in here. Make sure you have this on complex and not beats. I don't know, I forgot the first few times I did this and I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, with complex it's all good. And then I have these 2 backing vocal tracks, which are, you know, panned to the very left and the very right. So So everything together sounds like this.
You want it all within the cycle.
Then I think on the whole group I put some phaser flanger to kind of soften it up again a bit and make it a bit more trippy, you know, a bit movie. Some glue compression to kind of glue those 4 tracks together a bit. Then some, what is this, tape saturation, some EQing again, a DS again, some multiband where I kind of did, try to tame those S frequencies a bit. Utility for gain staging, and then another low cut. And that's basically it, how I produced this song. I hope I didn't forget anything. It's the first time I'm doing a video like this. I hope you could follow me. I hope you maybe have learned 1 or 2 things. I would really appreciate if you gave me some feedback on my way of producing this. I know, looking back at this project, I've realized that some of those things were quite messy. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it works quite well, and I'm proud of this track. I really like it still. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay classy, and I hope to see you quite soon. All the best. Peace out.